Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone and good evening. This is Dr. Farrukh Rafique Ahmed and I'm working as an assistant professor at the Department of Pharmaceutics and a student advisor at the Faculty of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences, University of Karachi. The topic of my talk today is about precision medicine, and I'll be focusing about the different challenges in preparing the next generation of pharmacy professionals in our country. Uh, Before moving to the talk, I would first like to congratulate specifically Mr. Mohammed Siddiqui Saab from Cleveland Clinic and the whole team of Giving Back to Pharmacy in Pakistan for organizing such a phenomenal event um, with reference to Pharmacies Fair. The disclosure I would like to make over here is that I have no financial relationship with the Giving Back to Pharmacy in Pakistan, and I'm only here on an invite. The main aim of this presentation is to basically bring the attention of young pharmacy community towards the emerging model of medical science practice, that is the precision medicine. I'll not be discussing any use of any particular medication, or neither I will be discussing about the investigation of any drug. Though I will discuss briefly about the research work which we are doing right here in our department with respect to improvement in customization of medical therapy. The objectives of my presentation is basically, first I would like to introduce the term precision medicine, what it is and how we can distinguish the terminology with the other interchangeably used terminology such as personalized medicine. And I'll be discussing about briefly some of its scope. Then I'll be discussing the role of pharmacists in advancing the area, particularly with reference to Pakistan, and the challenges to progress to take the lead in transformation of this medical practice. So let's start with the discussion on precision medicine. Basically, precision medicine, let me switch on the laser pointer. Yeah. Basically, precision medicine is basically the basic precision medicine is basically the refinement of medicine. It's a new term, but the practice is basically traditional. We have seen over the last 100 years that different healthcare professionals with respect to their specialty are working towards the betterment of therapeutic objectives, be it a pharmacist, be it a medical professional, be it a surgeon or any other healthcare professional. But this terminology, precision medicine, is basically being used for the last 15 years quite frequently. And this is basically to substantiate and acknowledge the advancement in medical and other sciences which are focused to improve the healthcare of individuals. So previously, the terminology personalized medicine were used to was basically being used and was basically being operated in different settings, be it research or clinical healthcare. But recently, precision medicine has overtaken that terminology, personalized medicine. And that is because precision medicine is a holistic terminology, and personalized medicine is basically a part of precision medicine. Precision medicine basically addresses the healthcare needs of individuals or groups or subgroups of individuals in a customized fashion. So let's say if we go to buy a certain clothing for ourselves, so definitely we would try to find a best fit for us, not just a random fit which would fit everyone. So same goes for the medication. We know as being the custodian of drugs, we already know that not every drug is suitable for every person or every group of individual. We have to individualize either the doses or certain times the drugs itself for various groups and individuals. So in the term of in the terminology of precision medicine, basically it's customization of whole healthcare. Be it's the use of diagnostic products or the dependent medical decisions, um, the treatment and practices which may arise from their own, and even the pharmaceutical products which are being designed, innovative and novel pharmaceutical products are being designed at the research scale, and they're being brought into the clinical practice. So they are also targeted towards a certain individual, certain group of people, or certain specific groups or subgroups of people. So this is a holistic view of precision medicine, that it does not entail only the clinical practice. Rather, it's also about the research and how the different research products, be they are tangible products or intangible products, being brought in to improve the healthcare of groups or subgroups of people. So this is the customization of healthcare. In terms of the definition, how the precision medicine initiative, which was introduced by President Obama in America, which endorses and substantiates the claim that why precision medicine is getting more and more attention and getting more and more funding as the time is progressing, is basically the fact that it's basically the right treatment, inclusive of the products and services at the right time to the right person. We as a pharmacy community, we all know these terminologies: right treatment, right time, and right person. Uh, but now the thing is, the precision medicine initiative also addresses that we have to take into consideration the health history which we used to take, but now we have to undertake also the genetic history, the genes and associations, and the environment in which the persons are living in, and their lifestyles. Ms. Mehmet, actually, I am having some noise from. Could you please check the
Yeah,
position?
sure.
This
I
is
think
okay now.
somebody has unmute mic.
Now this
Yeah,
is okay,
Dr.
doctor.
Salma, but it's fine now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I will briefly go through the lead projects which have led to the current standing of precision medicine in 2020. So back in 1984, Human Genome Project basically was devised, and it was actually started in 1990. Human Genome project was basically a massive project which was basically aimed to decode every gene of the human body. So the decoding of the entire genome was basically inclusive in the Human Genome Project. And this project was culminated in 2003, and that was a remarkable project in terms of its repercussions. And definitely after that, after the Human Genome Project, we witnessed the establishment of new fields such as transcriptomics and metabolomics, how the genes are encoding different kind of proteins, different types of proteins based upon their epigenetic factors. And then onwards, after the completion of Human Genome Project, 1000 Genome Project was initiated in 2008, and which was finished in 2015, and which involved over 2,500 individuals, 26 global regions, and 88 million genetic variations were identified. So this is something enormous, considering that not just a single individual genome is enough to devise a therapy. Rather than we have to undertake various races, various um, variation among even among the same population based upon their lifestyle and environmental exposures. So this was the target of 1,000 genome project, and it is basically still going on somehow as diversified project undertaken by different governments. Then we witnessed the boom of omics era: genomics, transcriptomics, proteomics, metabolomics, and recently we have seen the emergence of microbiomics, which is basically understanding of how different kinds of bacteria are there as normal flora inside our body and outside our body. And based upon these remarkable projects, the U.S. government substantiated the funding and their commitment towards investigation into a cumulative approach of precision medicine by endorsement by President Obama in 2015, which was termed as Precision Medicine Initiative. Based upon this initiative, they have actually started funding numerous projects in the US even and associated countries, which could basically help in achieving the objectives of precision medicine initiative. Going towards the pharmacogenomics translational potential, we talked about a lot of research. Definitely, those who are familiar with research may be able to understand that everything is which is being researched does not translate well into the clinical practice, and that is unfortunately quite true for a large sector of research. But in terms of pharmacogenomics, it was basically conceived that if the humans would be able to decode the genome of human individuals with respect to the racial differences and the other lifestyle and exposure differences, then we would be able to devise a customized form of therapeutics for those individuals. So the translation potential basically has certain enablers. Enablers means how we can better translate the pharmacogenomic research potential into the clinical medicine. So the enablers include, that is that first of all, we have to link what genes we have identified and what diseases phenotypically are being associated with those genes. So first of all, these kind of studies would enable largely the translation potential of pharmacogenomics. Then there is another factor, how we are going to score the risk factors. Definitely, when we talk about pharmacogenomics, then we are talking about the predisposition potential of individual towards certain diseases, given that they are exposed to certain environments or certain conditions. But and definitely, it's not just about that the disease has already occurred or started. So we have to score risk factors, not just based upon the genetic disease pairing, but also it's the pairing of individual to his or her respective environmental conditions and the lifestyle. And then biomarker identification. Definitely, if we are talking about the predisposition of individual to a certain disease, then we have to identify whether the disease would occur in the real time frame as expected by the studies. So we have to identify certain biomarkers in order to validate whether the disease, such as the cancers or some inflammatory conditions, have arrived or occurred in the individuals. Definitely, for that we need molecular profiling, and then that is totally different area of research, which involves biochemistry, cell biology. And then, as far as the pharmacy is concerned, we have another area emerging in the last 15 to 20 years, which is the novel targeting approaches, in which we are devising new therapeutic modalities, such as novel nanomedicinal products. We have already seen that numerous products have been licensed by FDA for various oncologic treatments. So we are in the era where we are witnessing that novel targeting approaches are getting appreciation in the clinical landscape also. So these are the enablers, how that will determine how soon and how good the pharmacogenomics is going to translate into clinical practice. In terms of engineering precision medicine, and why do we call engineering? Because we are talking about customization, and when we talk about customization, definitely we are talking about using the traditional medicinal approaches, but in a customized way. So there are certain enablers as well for them. So how we are going to address the precision medicine or customization of healthcare from engineering perspectives? Definitely, first of all, we are witnessing the emergence of 3D printing era, in which we have 3D printed organs, which are basically the research is going on how the organs can be printed for the in a personalized way for certain individuals specifically. Definitely, that includes tissue engineering, advances in stem cell research. And then we also have other approaches also in terms of 3D printing, which is related to dosage forms. So we are now in the era where the FDA is looking very seriously towards the 3D printing, 3D printed tablets, which could be used as a customized form of dosage form at the point of care pharmacies. Already, United States Pharmacopoeia has conducted very serious discussions on how the different companies who are entering into the 3D printing of tablets and capsules would be given regulatory guidance, and how these ATM type, auto teller type machines could be installed in point of care pharmacy, where a certain individual could come in and ask for his optimum dosage, and that dosage product could be just produced right away there in the point of care pharmacy. Then we have wearable diagnostics for the real-time diagnostics procedures. We are already witnessing that wearable diagnostics has revolutionized the management of diabetes and hypertension. So we could see in the coming years the wearable diagnostics shaping taking their integral part in the management. Point of care diagnostics, that is the disposable diagnostic kits, which could change the shape of diagnostics. For example, in a scenario, a patient would come in and he would ask a pharmacist that for a certain, let's say, for a certain treatment in inflammatory condition or ambulatory, in the ambulatory setting, a patient comes in for asking for a particular drug with respect to its oncology treatment. So what pharmacist, what is being envisioned is that a pharmacist could conduct a diagnostic test very rapidly in a point of care setting, and a disposable kits could be available, and for a few bucks he could diagnose whether the person is suitable for a given treatment or not. So this is the kind of thing we are going to witness. Stem cell engineering, I think that it's been discussed already in the conference. Nanomedicine and innovative products, I just mentioned that there are several different kinds of products which have a specific targeting for certain oncologic conditions, and some certain inflammatory conditions are being devised. So these products basically are targeting certain group of individuals rather than being advised for a general group of population. Then comes the bioinformatics, because that is basically we are talking about the large data, and the large data cannot be just assimilated by individuals. We have to use computational devices and computational technologies to understand the relationships of various factors, and there comes in bioinformatics. Practice and services, we have to be very steadfast in devising new practices to inculcate the benefits being offered by precision medicine and its enablers. And definitely the last but not least, policy and ethics, because when we discuss about the data in which the person who's not been identified with any disease, but he's just being predisposed, and there is a likelihood that he or she might get a certain disease, then there comes an ethics. We have to be very much considerate about how we are going, how we will move forward with respect to ethics and policies. So in terms of transition of pharmaceutical services, we have witnessed over the past 100 years that we were basically in a role of dispensing focused pharmacist, basically maybe devising formulations in terms of compounding, customizing prescriptions by means of compounding. And then we moved after 1992, when the PharmD degree was basically introduced in the US as the basic degree in pharmacy, towards a patient care model, point of care pharmacist and pharmaceutical care, where basically the pharmacist was basically identified as an integral member of inpatient healthcare setup. Now we are again going to witness a transition, an evolution of pharmacy practice. We have to see what expanding role we are going to witness, and definitely will be the participant that will shape the role of pharmacists in the coming era. So I would term this expanding role and evolution of the current transition of pharmacists as modern apothecary. Apothecary was originally a pharmacist, basically in the pharmacist was basically termed as apothecary, where he would customize the medication of materia medica for certain individuals based upon the prescription of the physicians. But now, with the expanding role of pharmacogenetics, we would be, and definitely we're going to be um, uh, in some way asked to modify the medicines based upon the pharmacogenetics profile of the individuals, and pharmacogenomics is going to is going to shape our practice majorly in the coming years. Precision medicine. The question is, are we ready to lead? Definitely, we are not leading the management of um, we are not leading in a leading role right now in as far as the management or therapeutics is concerned. But the signals are such that, given that the expanding role of pharmacogenomics, we might be in a position to take the lead in several areas. Um, the enablers are that the pharmacists are the one who have good understanding of pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics, clinical pharmacology as compared to other healthcare professionals. We do study medicinal chemistry, and we have good understanding of how the formulation is being produced and the drug delivery science. And in terms of practice, if we look, we are already doing therapeutic drug monitoring. That is also a customization of therapeutic needs of given individuals, but in an individualized way. Medication therapy management for as an individual approach. We are also already doing those modification based upon screening and diagnostics in inpatient and ambulatory care settings. And we are also witnessing the emergence, widespread emergence of practice by pharmacists in diabetes management, cholesterol management, hypertensive management. So we are basically witnessing an expanding role. So definitely, it's very likely that we can take the lead in terms of management and include the pharmacogenomics into our studies, and um, be a lead in devising new customized form of treatment based upon the genetic profile of the individuals. The global scenario of precision medicine pharmacy services is quite bright, and currently in America there is a clinical pharmacogenetics implementation consortium. Basically, it's basically a voluntary group with certain specific and lead pharmacists and interdisciplinary scientists working towards devising the guidelines for various drugs in different disease settings. And they have already devised their guidance for 35 150 medications based upon their genotyping. And they have produced algorithms of how the disease, how the medications for certain individuals, and specifically for hematology and in oncology, medications could be get customized for certain individuals and groups of patients. So the guidelines and guidance documents are being devised at a very fast pace, and the global outlook is very bright right now. Then we have pharmacogenomics knowledge base, in which you could see that with every passing years, we have getting enormous information being inducted in after a review process, and they are being curated periodically. And right now, 708 drugs have been listed in that genomics as the database, uh, where their recommendations are being mentioned. Um, and clinical guidelines of approximately 161 drugs are already given over there. And they are basically working on a review process just as similar to the evidence-based practice we see from the Cochrane database. So the model of reviewing process is similar to Cochrane. They have various stages of review, and then they devise the guidelines for a given drug for a given set of patients having certain genetic alleles. In terms of our local landscape in Pakistan, precision medicine, transitional enablers, there are certain things which we have to consider, which are challenges right now. And then if we work upon them, definitely the expanding role which we expect could be very bright. First of all is the education. Definitely education, training, and resources are the three most important foundations for envisaging expecting a transformation in any practice setting. So in terms of education, we have PharmD education, master's level of education, and even certain clinical institutions are running continuous pharmacy education based upon the which is basically giving the competency in given area. And we have training. Various hospitals are, mashallah, running residency programs and segmental experiential learning programs in their settings. But the thing is, we have to work upon these areas as well. I will just discuss in the preceding slides. The resources and infrastructure, definitely we are now talking about large data sets. We have to have good IT setup, research setup, and the research linkages. We also need to have up-to-date diagnostic laboratories in which we could have the diagnostic capabilities for the different genetic conditions. And foremost is our attitude, how we are going to engage in this expanding role, because no clear policies are being devised. We have to shape this area ourselves. So the attitude of engagement, our commitment and service will definitely determine how we are going to proceed. And definitely in terms of administrative and professional support and guidance is the essential thing without which we cannot proceed. As far as since I belong to academia, so I'll be presenting what I feel the deficiency in our curriculum is that the current Pharmacy Council curriculum in Pakistan basically lacks several areas which could be good enablers for transformational journey in precision medicine. We do study pharmacokinetics and somewhat basic pharmacodynamics, but the level of competency required in understanding how the kinetics of drugs are going to um, uh, take shape in different individuals based upon their genetic profiling and based upon their exposures towards the epigenetic factors. Definitely, we need to have a good understanding of pharmacokinetics. So my point of view would be to include more modules of pharmacokinetics and dynamics. And of course, there is no mention of systems biology. When we talk about precision medicine, we have to have a good understanding of systems biology and pharmacogenetics. How the genes are basically structured and how they are basically expressed in a cellular biological environment. Pharmacogenomics. I would like to mention over here the difference between pharmacogenetics and pharmacogenomics. These are basically two different terminologies. The pharmacogenetic approach is basically linking a disease phenotype to genotype, pharmacogenetics, a forward way approach. But in terms of pharmacogenomics, it's a reverse way approach where we basically have the genome data and then we associate the genes with the diseases phenotype types. So that is a reverse approach in terms of pharmacogenomics. So these two are two different terminologies and two different kind of approaches. Then we have to inculcate studies about how we can improve our studies in terms of diagnostics. As far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen in the curricula the mentions of diagnostics, and the majority of courses do not cover this area, point of care diagnostics specifically, because point of care diagnostics is the area where a pharmacist is basically in charge of the diagnostic procedures. So we have to include this area also. And then we have to modernize our curriculum with respect to bioinformatics and analytics. So this is again a kind of thing. We have to include understanding of novel and complex drug delivery systems. In the last 15 years, there has been tremendous research and induction of various advanced drug delivery systems in the clinical practice. So, and as far as the curricula is concerned, curricula is traditionally discussing about the traditional dosage forms rather than discussing about the advanced drug delivery system. And finally, but not the least, analytics, big data processing. Our graduates are studying computer literacy, but they are far from understanding the big data processing, such as on the platform of Python and MATLAB, so that they on their own associate the different genetic information coming in with the disease conditions. That will be quite suitable for the research understanding of the individual. So we need to give a basic understanding of all these areas to our individuals who are studying PharmD. Student-centric challenges. I will be discussing about because I'm an advocate of student challenges also in my academic profession. Definitely with the advancement of IT and with the emergence of social sphere, we are seeing that undergraduate students and even postgraduate students and even ourselves are being distracted by social sphere, and we are unable to manage our time. This is basically impacting our understanding, our learning process, and definitely with the frail curricular structure with respect to the current needs, this is all becoming a challenge to prepare next generation of pharmacy professionals for precision medicine and customization of healthcare. In terms of evidence-based learning, I have been an advocate of evidence-based learning. Our graduates don't have good understanding of how they should do the learning of a given subject. They just consider that they are being overburdened by certain concepts and topics. What they have to do is to be very smart in the learning procedures, and there are various approaches to do these things, which I have also been practicing myself. The Feynman technique, the tutorial groups, and group discussions is basically non-existent in our settings of academic environment. The effect of Pomodoro technique, the practice sensory motor learning, which was basically advocated by our elders, have been found to be very much impactful, and the space repetition. So these are all the things which I am advocating for students to adopt so that they can overcome the challenges in terms of their learning approaches. In terms of the training challenges and practice settings, um, oncology and hematology is basically experiencing precision medicinal transformation. We have seen that genetic testing is basically being conducted on oncologic and hematologic patients before their medications are being advised. Certification programs for inpatient settings should be introduced so that the pharmacists who are working in a specialized area could grasp a good understanding of uh, their, uh, their good understanding of the precision medicine in respective areas, and we have to devise certain residency and experiential learning opportunities right now, so that in the next 5 years we would be in a better position to induct pharmacists into these settings. Uh, in terms of research and data challenges, academia and clinical settings, specialized research requirements are basically needed. Uh, uh, I will move at a faster pace now because I'm getting short of time. Specialized research requirements are basically necessary in our country. We have to understand this concept. We can't rely just upon the data being provided by the institute in US and Europe, because the population group which we are dealing in our country is basically a specialized one, and we have to customize all the medication and all the therapeutic approaches for our population. So we have to have a good research setup to do pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic research for our group of patients, so that we can devise and tailor the medication for our patients. We have to perform genome profiling and clustering of our subgroup of population. We have to have a good understanding of how we are going to associate our genome profiles with the phenotype of diseases. That is the pharmacogenetic association profiling, and definitely we need to have an administrative research support to perform all these things. And as far as the research is concerned, definitely I've seen that a few labs in Pakistan have started to work in the area of big analytics and precision medicine, such as Dr. Faisal Khan at the Peshawar and Hayatabad Medical Complex is doing a remarkable job. But we need to have such kind of infrastructure in each city, so that we can move at a faster pace. Uh, Financially, ethical and financial challenges, we have to address this because as far as my being a researcher concerned, I have done some studies in clinical settings also for population kinetics, and I have faced this thing, and this is kind of serious thing, that most of the patients who come to our institutions are basically paying on their own. We have to devise a certain financial model for insurance or third party insurance for the affordability of diagnostic and healthcare needs. Only in that way we can move forward with the precision medicine. Otherwise, if the cost is going to be a burden for the patient, definitely it's going to be a very much, it's going to affect very badly to our progression. So we need to take the lead in that respect too. And in terms of the regulation of practices, laboratories and clinical settings also need to be very much regulated, because now the data which we are going to have in the laboratories is kind of a very critical for individual confidentiality. So there is an ethical dilemma at the crossroads. We are discussing about the predisposition diagnosis, and definitely many of our population is basically working in the private sector, and the predisposition data diagnosis and its leakage to the employers would definitely hamper the progression in terms of their employment. So we have to also address this thing also before moving into precision medicine. So what we can do to achieve an expanded role, we have to have a good knowledge, we have to devise training procedures, we have to have a good attitude, we have to have good resources, infrastructure, and capacity. So finally, with my presentation, I would like to just briefly express what we are doing at our department. Is basically we are conducting bioavailability and bioequivalence studies on local population. We have performed numerous studies. Now we are basically improving our infrastructure, and we have gold standard FDA softwares to perform the pharmacokinetic and population kinetics studies for modeling of local population. And we are also working on transdermal, osmotic, and specialized drug delivery systems for supporting the local industry, pharmaceutical industry, in order to commercialize various different kinds of drug products for different patient groups. These are the recommended readings and references if in case you want to study in detail about the precision medicine. And these are the contact details if you wish to come in contact with me later on. With that, again, I would like to congratulate giving back to pharmacy in Pakistan, particularly Mr. Mohammed Siddiqui Sahab, for giving me the chance to share my views on precision medicine. Thank you very much.